Welcome back to For the Love of Men. The intention of this show is to bring together men and women in harmony, to honor each other's masculine and feminine energetic cores, and create healthy, thriving, polarized relationships. I am co-hosting with my good friend Courtney Shand, and she's going to tell you all about herself. My name is Bree. Before we jump in and do that, we want to tell you that next month we are hosting a monthly group coaching call, which we also did last month.
Woo-hoo.
And this is an opportunity for you to come in and get your questions answered by Courtney and I, so you can ask anything that's going on in your relationships, your love life, whatever you'd like support with, and you get our eyes and our hearts on what's going on, and you get direct coaching up to 20 people to keep it intimate. Normally it's $199. We're allowing these first few sessions to be at half price for $99. It's going to be a 90-minute session. It is going to be so juicy.
Fire.
Men and women are both invited. We'd love to have both. And what else, Courtney? Anything else about that?
No, we love doing this. This is so fun for us. So we just wanted to create the invitation again.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so we hope to see you all there. If you'd like to join us, click the link in the show notes. It'll be there for you. Courtney,
Yes.
I know our returning listeners already know about you and they love you, but for any new listeners, tell us who you are and what your magic is.
Yeah. My name's Courtney Shand. I am a relationship mentor. I really specialize in helping women empower their own masculine energy. This creates the feeling of sturdiness, security, being able to set boundaries clearly and cleanly, and it really reduces a lot of the anxiety that happens in dating, especially in those first 3 to 6 months of dating. That can create a lot of anxiety, keeps you really present in your body and activating that feminine energy, heart open feeling that's going to be the most attractive to the right man for you. So I love doing that with women and with men, but specifically I work with a lot of women around their dating life. So love it.
Good.
And you?
So good. I work with mostly female entrepreneurs to help them scale their businesses and attract in healthy masculine partners through similar modalities. Courtney and I have very similar but distinctly different ways of working with clients. And I help women a lot with coming home to their bodies, sexual empowerment, finding their pleasure again, finding their feminine energy and embodying that, both to help scale their businesses and to help them in their love, relationship, dating life. So that's what I do in the world. And speaking of love, dating, relationships, a very important episode today. Singledom. Celebrating your season, or however long it might be, of being single and really learning to make the most out of it and embrace it. Not make it wrong, which a lot of society does, but make it such a space and time for you to really come into yourself, learn about yourself, enjoy yourself, and treasure it. So we've got some things we'd like to share with you that have helped us both individually. And Courtney and I have been through seasons of singleness in our friendship, yeah? No, when I met you, you were already...
I was starting to date again, yeah.
You were already dating, but I've certainly been through seasons of singleness with you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've been through it together. We want to share with you some of the best ways we know to make the most out of your single season.
Yeah.
Courtney, what comes to your mind first?
Yeah. So what I really loved when I look back in my singleness season was actually really learning how to be with myself. What that looked like for me was really figuring out where I was not thriving, what made me happy, how I felt. I learned a lot about my feelings and what that felt like in my body. There's just so much growth during this time when we can take that blanket of shame away, of you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you that you haven't been chosen. It can be a really beautiful season of choosing yourself. And I think that being able to turn in on myself and do some soul searching and some love and TLC, it was so powerful, and I honestly don't regret any of it. Yeah.
What do you think was your, when you first came out of a relationship, it would have been years ago for you, right? Or a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And you were being single again. Did you have any big aha moments?
That's a good question. I think the biggest aha for me was what I had been looking for in a relationship. Really. And I still do some work on this too. I'll go back and reflect, like, what am I looking for in the relationship that I need to be giving myself? And kind of taking that ownership back on my plate. And helping me really grow up and mature in that way. So I would say that when I was coming out of a relationship, or even early in dating, still kind of operating in a single space, being aware of myself, kind of exercising that self-awareness in a way that was helpful for me and really like pushed me forward, instead of scouring my like inner world for what's wrong with me, kind of through that lens.
So like a different level of self-acceptance.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly what it is. Self-acceptance, and using that as propulsion, using that to move me forward instead of just looking at it to look at it. If that makes sense. Kind of integrating. That's what we talk about. I integrated a lot of the self-awareness and was able to kind of see myself from a different vantage point, from one of compassion and acceptance, and not just blame and shame and thinking through things.
I love that you said that, because so much of the personal development world always wants to tell you what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is, when you went into a season of singleness, you decided, I'm actually whole, complete, worthy, good enough, deserve to be chosen, deserve to be cherished.
Yeah.
Which is a different lesson that I think a lot of society is begging for right now, is like, let it be enough, especially if you're a personal development junkie, like I'm sure a lot of you are if you listen to the podcast, right? Because this is a personal development show. It's so easy to fall in that trap. And there has to be a point where you turn a corner and go, and I still fully choose myself, even with my anxiety, even with my avoidant tendencies, even with my trauma that I'm healing through, and all my humanness. I still totally believe that I'm worthy of being chosen and being loved and being accepted and cherished. That is a turn the corner, flip over a new leaf, whatever you want to call it, moment, right?
Yeah, I laugh because my heart was like, yes, that's exactly it. I think I came to the awareness of like, what if there's nothing wrong with me?
Yeah.
And that was such a profound shift. And I think from that space, and I was talking to a client about this last week, of like being able to create from a space of not having to. Same thing, you can create a love life from a space of not having to, but like, what if nothing's wrong with me? That means everything that I discover about myself is a new, profound insight, and not a thing that needs to be fixed or healed or like, scrubbed or polished in order to be more acceptable. And that really gave me a lot of power for myself to move into dating with more integrity, because I was able to come from the space of this is exactly correct. Like, this is my boundary because it's my boundary. I stopped doubting myself, and it made boundary setting a little bit easier because it just was. I stopped like looking at it from the lens of like, well, what can I fix here? What's my trauma? What do I need to own more of? And it's like, no, this is just the boundary. It's protecting the trauma because they don't have access to that yet. And so I stopped overexposing myself early, and it started to feel better. So those first like 3 to 6 months felt amazing in any dating connection, because I knew I had my own back. I knew that what I was willing to stay for, what I was willing to walk away for, what I was willing to, what I can be with in terms of my emotions. And yeah, I can go on and on. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think just the nuance would be, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're saying don't work on your stuff, don't look at yourself, don't take accountability.
No.
You're still accountable, you're still growing, you're still looking at your stuff.
Yeah.
And you're still worthy, lovable, whole, and complete at the same time. I know it sounds like it doesn't make sense. Your brain's probably going, what? How can I? But we fuck this up a lot. Yeah. We say, because I have issues, I am not worthy. I'm not worthy being chosen. I'm not worthy being loved. And those things do not go together. Everyone has human stuff. Any partnership you go into, you're going to have stuff and they're going to have stuff. And you're both still worthy of being loved and chosen and appreciated and celebrated and all those wonderful things. You're both still good enough as you work on your shit. I think that is the cleanup you made. Is that correct?
Yeah, the difference is that I was now the one that was giving it to myself. I was worthy of my own love. Like, because I was willing to drop my judgment, the judgment that I was projecting from other people onto myself that was actually keeping me looking for all of my shit and all of my like stuff that needs to be worked on before I can be in a relationship. It almost made me feel unsafe, like the bull in the china shop. Like, I wouldn't trust myself in a relationship because I felt like I had all this stuff that needed to be worked on. And once I took that away and was able to accept, like, okay, well, this is me, and I love this part of me. That was the turnaround, when I was able to accept that, like, here's where I'm at. It actually gave me more impetus to do the work because I was not coming at it from a sense of judgment, which would just push me further into shame and hide it and regress it even deeper into my shadow. But I was actually able to come at it from a place of love and compassion, and it felt safe for me to open up to myself, which made me more emotionally available to myself, and therefore the work was actually registering as a shift in how I behaved out in the world. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm trying to find this quote from Carl Jung. It's one of my favorite quotes. And I can't remember what it exactly is, but it's something along the lines of like, the curious paradox is when I fully accept myself for exactly who I am, then I can change.
Yes.
It's
It is
exactly
so
what it is.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And it's not about not taking accountability. It's actually taking accountability from the inside. I always talk with my clients of like, you want to live your life from inside your body, like looking out and experiencing the world instead of being outside and kind of having this out-of-body experience. And it's the same thing with growth and personal development, that we actually get the most change when we come at it from the inside, and that only happens when we drop the judgment and are able to accept ourselves and love what we see, whatever comes up. And that is the shift that happened to me when I was just choosing to be single. I was going to say content being single, but it was more, I'm just actively choosing to be with myself right now.
Yeah, so you still work on those things, you still heal them,
Yeah.
you still look at it, and it's like, it's still completely lovable from this place.
Yeah.
I still choose myself from this place. I'm not shaming myself anymore or choosing a season of being single to fix myself.
Yes, very big difference.
Right.
I've done both.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's
there are
true.
times where they can both feel appropriate, but even then, I think if you're choosing to be single to quote-unquote fix yourself, like that's the mentality you went in, I still think you could benefit from this little shift in going, I'm still lovable in this state, and what does it look like to work on myself from a place of self-love instead of shame
Yeah. Yep.
and brokenness, right?
Yep. Yeah. Because when you go at it from shame and judgment of yourself, it almost like, like pushes it further away. You never close the gap until you're able to love it and draw it. It's the same with people. Until you can like be a loving kind of magnet towards it, it will never join with you. It will just stay that far away from you no matter how far you chase it. It's the same with men. It's the same with yourself. Your own emotions do that too. They just get kind of pushed further into the recesses of your mind until you can kindly offer some safe space for them. And that was a skill that I had to learn that I was not aware of.
Yeah, and there are lots of modalities, ways to do that Courtney and I both teach inside of our courses, our one-to-one work. We're happy to talk about it with you all on a monthly call as well if you want to dig deep, but it's so nuanced. If we were to go into like how to fully accept yourself, it would take more time. So
Yep.
we won't do that here.
Thank you for bringing me in.
We just want to give, and we're always playing with this balance of like, if you share too much on a podcast where there's not enough support and context, things can be taken out of context, and we don't want to lead anyone down a path without adequate information and education.
True.
So we do try to like separate what's available to be shared on the podcast and what needs to be shared in a realm of support where you can work through how you personally relate to it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, such a good, great point. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was your biggest lesson.
That was
So
a
good.
huge turnaround for me. What about you? Anything you want to add to that?
My biggest lesson in being single?
Yeah.
Well, the first time I became single, first of all, my history was being a serial monogamist since I was like 16. 2-year relationship, 4-year relationship, 2-year relationship. So that was 8 years of relationship by the time I was in my mid-20s. And I had not really been single. And the last relationship was, as I've shared before, narcissistic abuse. So I left that with a lot of shit to clean up and learned a lot of what you learned, which is like, I can love these parts of me because they were a trauma response and they kept me safe. This anxiety, this, being hypervigilant all the time. These parts of me came from a place of staying safe with somebody who was really unsafe. And so I loved myself for finding these ways to cope, and I don't need them anymore because I'm safe now. It's interesting, I can sum that up in one sentence, but it has been like...
How many years of therapy
like
did that
literally 2 years of so much work, 3 years of so much work. So it's not that simple, but I think coming out of that, and anyone who's been through even a super unhealthy codependent dynamic, but I'll just speak from my perspective. So if you've been through narcissistic abuse, I really lost myself big time. I lost the sense of what I actually liked, what food I wanted to eat, when I wanted to eat it. And this is the experience of now a lot of my clients that I work with have been through narcissistic abuse. So, and we know this too, my background's in psychology, so we know this from the research, that this is a really common experience of you lose so much of yourself because you're contorting to make someone else happy. Down to food, down to places, down to clothes you wear, down to friends you keep. And so when I left that relationship, I was isolated from pretty much all of my friends besides 2 that I did not share with that person on purpose because I was seeing the pattern that was happening. And I was isolated from my whole family, which I'm super close with. My family is incredible. They're amazing. So for me, the single season was one of the most profound seasons of my life, of really learning who I am outside of defining myself by someone else. And what am I capable of? And what do I want? And when the day is just for me, what do I actually want to do? When no one depends on me, when no one's needing me, when no one's pulling me, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What do I want to create? And at the time I had already started, I'd been a couple years into my business and was really successful with the way that I coach women in the online space. But even then, having space from a relationship helped me zoom out and go, how much was I watering down what I say and what I teach to keep this significant other's approval? Because, and again, this is obviously nuanced because of my situation, but because I was afraid of the backlash if I didn't say something that he agreed with. So I was doing a lot of watering down. So I was in a really wounded place when I first became single. And it was very, I'm not going to say quickly, but the growth happened so fast being alone. Not that it completed, because I don't think it ever completes. It was just like light bulb, epiphany, more coming into my own, less needing, less codependency, less anxiety, and so much more finding myself. I just treasure it. I always tell people, don't rush it. Don't rush it, because Courtney and I were talking before the show, and I think the most profound insight I had, having been out of that relationship for a couple of years was, and healthy dating, getting in a space now where I only attract in really healthy, empowered men. The man I'm seeing now is incredible. The men before him were still great men. They just weren't compatible. So now I attract really high quality, wonderful partners. Whether they're it or not, they're still wonderful. And it just dawned on me one day of like, this season will only last so long. Like I could meet my person tomorrow. And then what? And then the single season is over and there's somebody back in my life again. And I'm happy to open my heart up in that space, but it will never just be about me ever again. And I can't predict when it's going to happen, right? We don't know when the universe is going to bring us that person. So you only get so long of this single season as you get, and then it's over. And if that's your person, then you marry them and you create a life, and you won't ever get this space of like, for me, being in your 20s, living in a big, beautiful new city, making all these friends, because I moved to Nashville after the split. It'll never happen again. And why are we rushing this, Brie? Like, this is so fucking awesome that you can pour into your business, pour into yourself, pour into your friends, have all this freedom, spend all this time dreaming. Like, don't rush this. Your life is not incomplete without a man. And it's inevitable that your man will be here. So if you really know that, then why are you rushing the single season?
Boom.
to get off my soapbox now.
Wow. Wow. So I love that. I love all of those things. So kind of taking some time to realize the gift for what it is.
Yeah.
And to soak in whatever is available to you that does make you happy. And kind of charging your tank.
Yeah, and I went through the same realization that you did of I am not broken. And also just because of what I went through, like I really had to get solid around this does not make me broken. No. This was not on my doing, right? And this is now something I've learned, and because of it I feel so much wiser, so much more sturdy within myself. I have such better discernment. My heart is more open having had that experience, and I've softened having had that experience. Obviously I went through the hardening phase first.
To be expected.
But then I opened again. So it was really such a blessing, and similar to Courtney, it was like, yeah, I'm still the fucking shit. You really got to get to that place, you know? Because if you're not there, then you can't have that mirrored back from the people who come into your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be just kind of like minor misses in who you're attracting. They won't quite land with you because they're not able to hear you. They're kind of reflecting what you're trying to convince yourself of about yourself.
Yeah, right. And it's not from a place of arrogance, like let me convince myself. It's like real, true loving of who you are, knowing that you're enough, with your humility, with your messiness, with your humbleness, with your shit to clean up, with your trauma patterns, and I am still so lovable, right? I still love myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's somewhere for it to land. When someone gives you love, there's somewhere for it to land. Yeah. Yeah, not from a conflated, like, I am the shit.
Oh gosh.
Thing. I think that's where I was saying that we try to convince ourselves of. There's a lot of like rah pep talk in the personal development space of like, if you just do enough mantras, but if it's not landing, then it's not landing. It's not going to achieve what you're thinking it's going to achieve if it doesn't feel congruent, is my experience with that.
Yeah, I do think it reminds me of when we did the Boss Babe archetype episode.
One of my favorites.
Similar energy, like when the Boss Babe is, I'm the shit, I'm interviewing all my candidates, I'm the best there is, I know what I bring to the table, which is like, can end up being quite masculine and guarded in that sense. Because you are trying to convince yourself. Versus really being embodied in, I know what I bring to the table, I know what I need to work on, and I know that still makes me a really great partner. Yeah, such a great mindset shift. I love that. Which kind of goes into what I wanted to talk about of learning how to regulate your nervous system. Yeah.
Like understanding what baseline feels like in your body can be one of the most powerful things you use the single season for. There's what you were saying of like, no one needs my time and attention and emotional resources right now, which means that all of that energy gets to be focused on me. And if you can use this time to start to learn what regulating your baseline nervous system or regulating your nervous system feels like, whether that's going to a new breathwork class or a yoga class or doing some pranayama, doing some EFT tapping. What are some of your favorite modalities that you have found when you were learning how to regulate? Yeah.
I was just telling you before, vageling has been really important because it connects to your vagus nerve, which can calm your nervous system. It's a breathing technique. Did you say yoga breath work?
I did, yep.
Hypnotherapy.
Also a good one.
Theta healing is something I do all the time. Also, a lot of my work is around manifestation for women who want to scale their businesses. And theta state is the state within which we are the most likely to manifest. I think it's 80% likely if you're in that state and you call your desires to your mind. Yeah. Versus 10% when you're just speaking from when you're just thinking about it from, top of mind consciousness. So theta healing. What else to regulate nervous system? I do think talk therapy can be helpful. But Courtney and I are in a pretty similar boat where we believe in somatic work. Coupled with talk therapy is great, but the somatic work has to happen. These modalities have to be in line to do the healing. Meditation.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I would say when I was in my single season, I had every year had a theme of what I was working on. So like I worked on my finances, I worked on my relationship with my body. I had a whole body year, and that was amazing. Just giving myself full permission to do whatever my body needed or whatever was like kind of calling to me. And that was so profound because it not only attracted me to people who were also engaging in more somatic based healing. I found a lot of really great somatic practitioners that became close friends of mine and kind of created a tribe around me, but also getting massages more regularly. Physically allowing your body to soften is a very feminine thing, coupled with working through the emotions, letting that kind of harmonize again so that your mind and your body are able to co-regulate. That was one of the best things that I did for my nervous system, was just to receive some healing touch in the form of massage therapy on a regular basis.
I also think somatic release was big for me too, which is a modality I teach when I work with clients, and that's basically allowing the emotions to be in your body and not rush them out and express them. So through different techniques of like shaking and clapping and you screaming into pillows and all these things that are obviously have more context and are nuanced. That's why we teach them in our courses and our work. But that was really important for me too, just to process, especially coming off the trauma. That was the biggest thing that was really helpful for me, coupled with all the other things too. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I really
to regulate your nervous system.
Learned. I think I
grounding outside.
Yes. I have a grounding sheet on my bed actually. So yeah, grounding, if you're not familiar, just taking your shoes off and walking on the earth, getting in touch with that. Yeah, there's so many different ways, and you'll find it for you. That's the thing. There were some things like sound baths, different types, different modalities that I tried, and I'm so glad that I tried, because I would never have experienced them otherwise. But I realized, actually, this isn't really doing what I would like. This is really what is working for me. So I'm going to double up on my like attention over here and save this for another day. And you'll figure it out for you, what really lights you up, what stabilizes you, what grounds you, what helps you feel really calm and centered, so that you can come to the dating experience when you're ready, knowing what baseline feels like, so that you have an awareness of like, I'm activated, I'm deactivating, I feel shut down, I don't like this, so that you can navigate with more intuition and more discernment around that awareness.
Yeah. I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. But I know it's on our board. We always make notes. We always make notes of what we want to say. I think just learning what you like is really important too when you're in the season. Again, outside of the context. So maybe this is just my experience, but it comes up with a lot of my clients too, especially if you have more wounded feminine tendencies, where you can tend to be a shapeshifter. Like the person that you're dating, you could take on, oh, he likes golf, I'll get into golf. Oh, he likes music, I'll get into music. That's not true for me. I always love music, but whatever it is. Oh, he likes Italian food, I'll get into Italian food. He likes people who cook well, I could be a good cook, whatever it might be.
I'm so glad you're saying this.
You start shapeshifting, and for me, that was a big part of the case of that last 2-year relationship that was unhealthy. And so when I came out of it, I had to really discern how much of the woman that I'm being is actually who I want to be and what's true for me, and what has been a result of me shape-shifting to earn and please and try to get love from somebody who's also inherently incapable at this moment of giving healthy love. So I've been shape-shifting all this time, right? And changing my personality, my likes, how I spend my time. And that whole season was like, do I actually? Turns out I don't really like pasta. Don't come for me, but I don't really love pasta. Okay. I could go without pasta.
I found those things too.
Yeah.
Like kombucha. I'd been making it for years, and then I was like, actually, I don't like this.
There you go. I know it sounds silly, but these are little indicators of coming home to yourself and really honoring what you like. I love cooking. I love baking. Not all the time. I was doing it way too much.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Way too much to people please. So what actually feels good to me? What's actually my ideal way to spend a night by myself? And how okay can I be being by myself? Right?
Yes.
I also looked at, this might be off topic, but like how much am I depending on someone else being with me in order to go do things that I want to do?
I'm so glad you're bringing this up. Yes.
Can I go to the bar by myself and have a drink and read a book? Can I go walk in the park by myself?
And if not, why not? That's where I would send your attention. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I was just thinking about the time you told me you were frolicking.
Oh, if frolicking was an Olympic sport, this girl would be the captain. I mean,
I
love
this.
skipping. I love skipping in the park. And that was one thing that I gave myself permission, like, you know, I don't care. I'm going to go skip if I feel like skipping. I love swinging too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I decided to own that I did not like Harry Potter. I finally have watched them and I can say that they were good. But I was like, you know what? Why am I trying to fit in? All of these little things, these little ways that we try to fit in.
Yeah.
Because it creates safety for us. So what you were saying of how would I spend the evening if I had it to myself? If I don't feel comfortable going to have dinner by myself or going to a movie by myself or going to the park by myself, why not?
Yeah.
Do I feel like I am defenseless and can't protect myself? Is it like a physical safety thing? Is it I would feel embarrassed or ashamed, or I would make fun of someone that was sitting at the restaurant by themselves, like they don't have anyone to eat with?
When actually, I'd be like, that girl's confident as fuck.
Right. Right.
I would not judge her. I'd be like, damn.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of confidence, self-confidence, and this is nuanced too, to live in your body and come from a place of security and confidence, to take yourself somewhere that is out of your element or out of your comfort zone. That is like confident. To go sign up for a salsa dancing class just because you want to try it and show up by yourself and get out of the car and walk in by yourself feeling awkward. Do it feeling awkward and
Don't make it wrong.
Don't make it mean anything that there's something wrong with you, but that's a really good opportunity to unwind some of those stories that are undermining your confidence, that are actually going to keep you from being seen by the right people, if I'm honest.
Oh, you know what else
Tell
I just
me.
thought of? This fear of being...
I love recording with you. We can just like...
It's so fun. I'm vibing on like, wow, single season is so great. I mean, I love the person that I'm seeing now, but we do love the men that we love. But there's just so much gold. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of in the single season whatsoever. And I hope that's what you take away from this. But to go back to my pattern of shape-shifting, down to like... where was I afraid that I was going to be too much and lose somebody's approval?
Yes.
So what parts of me was I refusing to explore? Down to how I dressed.
Oh.
I was dressing in a way that like I thought this person I was even valuing things I thought this person would like. Louis Vuitton sitting in front of us. I thought I had to have this nicest car, the nicest clothes, Louboutin heels, right? And now I have those things, and you know where those Louboutins sit? In my damn closet. Because I don't really care. I would rather spend that money on going on a trip with Courtney, or maybe getting my hair done in a way that I like, or going to a really nice meal, or saving it, or investing it, or whatever it might be. But I learned that I don't value those things. And I don't need, it's not where I'm going to put my money, right? And two other things come to mind. The way that I dressed was a big one. I was dressing in a way to approve. And then I moved. Courtney and I live in Nashville. Well, Courtney will be back to Nashville. And people have so much fun with fashion here. I swear, it was one of my favorite things about this city. I love the city so much, and fashion is one of them. Mm-hmm. Nobody is too much. I take my one of my girlfriends when she comes out, and she comes in this pink jumpsuit. People compliment her so much.
And she looks fire.
And she looks amazing. And you know what? Anywhere you go, there's always someone dressed up more than you. Mm-hmm. So I've had so much fun buying new clothes, trying new styles, trying on trends. Like, I've loved that expression. I also, when I came out of that relationship, always felt like I really wanted to explore sex and intimacy and relationship coaching. And I didn't, because my self-worth at the time had been really knocked down. And then when I left, that's when I felt like, wait, I also felt like I might intimidate him. If I grow and I become incredible at this, which I know I can, what if I'm too much? What if he leaves? right? And I was watering down. So when I became single, I was like, oh my God, there's no one's approval to need. I can do whatever I want. And did start getting into those programs and certifications and taking courses on sex and intimacy and pleasure and women coming home to their bodies. And now that is a huge part of the work I do with my clients, and also something that the current person I see loves about me.
And you're so gifted. Like, that is
Thank
your
you.
calling.
Thank
to
you.
Withhold your calling from the world for
approval.
someone else's approval. Like, that is something else to look at of
How
why
out
am
of
I not
alignment.
leaning into this?
And how out of alignment was that relationship?
Yeah.
If it required me to hold back this part of me that was so alive, how out of alignment is that connection? Because a really healthy, juicy, aligned relationship, and especially empowered masculine man, is going to go, I want you to be the full expression of who you are.
Yeah.
Go do it. Go explore. Go be. And honestly, that's how a woman will be too. An empowered feminine woman will be like, go explore. Go do what you need. I believe in you, you know? So I really held back these parts of myself that were inherently part of my soul mission on this planet, to keep approval and expression of. I mean, I dyed my hair. I used to be blonde. My hair used to be short. Now it's long like Rapunzel.
You have gorgeous hair.
I used to only wear it straight. Now I wear it naturally curly. I know these sound like little things, but it's like, can you really come home to yourself and look at what are the ways in which I water myself down to keep somebody else's approval because I'm always dating or in a relationship and shape-shifting? And how can we stop doing that BS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you shared that. It reminds me of one of our earlier episodes in the single digits where you shared that, how to not lose yourself in a relationship.
Yeah.
7, I think, is number 7. And you had said that there were parts of you that you would hide early in connections because you were like, what if he doesn't like that I am spiritual or woo-woo or
which
whatever
I am.
it is. Which, if that really resonates with you, you wouldn't want to hide it early on.
And you want a partner who it also resonates with.
Yes.
That's a non-negotiable for me now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If that is going to be a mismatch, that is going to feel so out of integrity for you. And again, this goes back to learning your baseline so that you know, actually this is out of integrity for me. I cannot continue in this. Yeah. I won't go on another date because it doesn't feel
And
we're moving in the same direction.
I've made that decision many times already. Good men who we just saw things spiritually very different. And I was like, I really love and appreciate you, and I can't date you.
Yeah.
As a partner, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, which kind of shifts into seeing the world abundantly too. If you are able to see the single season as an investment in yourself and who you are moving forward, you open up options that you wouldn't have had before. It opens up this entire world of people, and if you can start to step into that level of self-worth and of seeing it that way, of I'm investing in myself because I know that someone out there is going to be able to meet me, and not let it be a season of shame or fear or keeping yourself small, you really can capitalize. You could be single forever and just enjoy the heck out of your life.
Totally. You don't need a partner to be happy.
Yeah, there's not a hierarchy of relationship status, and I guess that's maybe the shift too.
Yeah, 100%. And when you do find yourself shifting into comparison around these people are in a relationship and they're so happy and all these things, something that was helpful for me is see the happy couples as evidence that it's possible and it will happen, and celebrate it.
Yes.
And B, you also don't know how happy those people really are. So it's not to be pessimistic, but it's I wonder if you've been through this too, but I am certainly at the age where my friends are starting to get married and have babies and all these things. And given my friends are usually 5 to 10 years older than me, but you can see it around you and go, well, I want that. When's that going to happen for me? And you don't know the integrity of those relationships or if they're what you would want for yourself. Some people are settling, and that is just the truth of it. Some people have fallen into relationships, and that's just the truth of it. It doesn't mean that everyone's found their perfect person, right? And so if you're single because you're holding out for something that's really, really aligned, that's a really great thing. I wouldn't compare to anyone around you because you don't know what's actually going on behind the scenes. And if it is a happy, wonderful, thriving relationship, good. That's evidence that you get to have it and it's possible. That's the positive way. And the other shift is, and we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, so why are we jealous when we have no idea what that relationship is actually like?
Yeah.
Right?
What kind of trauma they're having to work through
Sure.
in a confined space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's not, you're not going to outrun your work. That's what we were talking about before we started recording. Like, in a relationship, single, you can do the same amount of work. It just reflects different parts of yourself that are needing to be supported and propped up and loved by you. And there's always opportunity to go deeper into yourself and get to know yourself. And single seasons can be really beautiful for that, because there's no one else kind of demanding for your time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
I was just going to ask you that.
Oh, I feel pretty complete, actually.
I think we crushed it. We may or may not do an episode following up on self-sovereignty, teaching you kind of how to keep some of your power when you're in relationships. Oh, I know what I want to add.
As I tap the crown?
As you tap the crown. You rub the genie in the bottle, and the answer came out. The skill sets that you learn in this season of being single, coming home to yourself, learning what you like, really becoming more of your full expression, right? Taking care of yourself, soothing your nervous system. All of this will carry forward as a skill set into a relationship, should you choose to have one.
Yes.
You still need this part of you. People think that when you go into a relationship, single Brie has to die because it's relationship Brie, and it's like, not at all. You actually need to keep those parts of you that know how to be self-sovereign and take care of yourself and regulate your nervous system and fill your own cup. And, if your partner's away for a weekend, are you going to be okay, right? This is really about being a whole and complete person, with your relationship being one planet in your life. The single version of you needs to come into a relationship. We need these skill sets to make a relationship thrive, or you'll end up in codependency and enmeshment most of the time.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Tie it up in a bow. I'm so glad you said that and wrapped it all up. That is so perfect. Yes, single Brie doesn't die. Perfect.
That's a real audio that cracks me up. You've probably seen it. Okay, go on.
Yeah. No, single Brie, single Courtney doesn't go away. And you can grieve your single season not having as much time, but you still will have to maintain that relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, there will always be single Courtney. There will always be single Brie. We spend time with them every morning or whenever works for you.
Right.
But we have to maintain that relationship dynamic too, or else we will lose ourselves for the sake of the relationship. And that is something that we've both committed to not ever doing again. So
yeah.
So this is to your advantage. I love that you said that. This is something you will take into any connection that you move forward with to keep it healthy.
Yeah, and the purpose of your life is not to find a partner. Like, you are a whole, complete, worthy soul on your own.
True.
Your partner gets to be a great part of it, but it's not everything.
Yep. Love that.
Which references our dating advice episode. Don't make your partner everything. What episode is that, Courtney? The last one, right?
27.
Yeah, the one before this.
Yep.
If you love the show, is that okay? Can we transition? Okay.
Yeah. I was like,
I was looking at her like,
if you love the show, of course they love the show.
Obviously. If you love the show, please share it on your Instagram and tag us. I would love to get some Instagram shares this week.
I love that.
Put on your Instagram, tag us at Courtney_Shand.
Yep.
Mine is at Building Brie, BRI. Let us know what you think. Send it to somebody that you love, that you want to win in relationships, or is that's going through a single season. Hopefully this empowers them. And please rate us if you could. Tap the star review or write something, because that really helps us move upward in the rankings so more people can find our show. But your shares help us the most. So please. We appreciate your shares so much.
Yes.
Courtney.
Yes.
If they want more from you outside of our monthly call.
Yes.
Which you can email us, DM us, whatever, if you want to be on the wait list for that.
Yes.
Where can they find more of Courtney?
Yeah. All my stuff is on CourtneyShand.com. You can check out my programs there. I hang out on Instagram and Facebook as well. If you do add me on Facebook, I just ask that you DM me. I had someone reach out and say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. Love it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oop, prioritize that. Add that one. Yeah. Just because there's a lot of spam friend ads. So I don't want to get lost in that. So I want to connect with you. If it's on Facebook, just message me and we will be friends. So
great.
That's me. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. You?
I hang out mostly on Instagram at Building Brie, BRI. I also have a private Facebook group where I go live. So for my entrepreneur women who are also wanting to soften and being their feminine, This is a great place to be. There's a link in the show notes to that group called Manifesting Queens. And follow us on the TikTok. Where you get to see our faces doing the podcast. We record them. Also, my website, buildingbri.com, BRI, has all my offers, ways to work with me. You can always just message me and say, I want to work with you and I don't know the best way to do that. What do you have open? Same for Courtney, I'm sure. If you're like, I know I want to work with you, you're my person, how do I work with you? Just send us a message.
Yeah, we'll help you.
Totally. All right, we love you. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.